travelers, Mag and I here at day 232 of our trip around the United States. Let's take just a moment here and talk about DeLorme Page 100. The only way to get to this page is through using Pacific Coast Highway, either coming from the south or from the north. The only portion of this page on land is in the very northeast corner, which only covers about 20 miles. We got within 1 mile of the edge of the page before we hit the road closure last night. To get into the page again, we had to come all the way south on Pacific Coast Highway, come around through the mountains, over to Gonzales, and finally into Salinas before circling back around. It took us all night and some of the morning to do that. I estimate we are probably about 6 hours behind schedule now. It is what it is. We are going to make the best of the time that we can today, but one way or the other, we have to be in San Francisco by the end of the night because we have a friend flying in that we're going to pick up and have join us for the next week. Today's route originally called for 220 miles. Adding in everything we've done through the mountains and the extra leg here, it's well over 350. We're going to cut what we can off the excess from the route. One of those things, unfortunately, is Santa Cruz, where there's a webcam that I was hoping to do, but that will save us a lot of time taking that off the schedule. We're also going to remove our stops in Salinas. We grabbed a traditional there last night. That's all we need. We're moving on. So we're going to cover our pages, coming back up the coast now, swing inland a little bit, and get into San Francisco by the end of the night. It looks like, in addition to the road closure, the weather is not going to be working in our favor either. But that's okay, because no matter how it goes, we're still going to be out here enjoying ourselves, geocaching, and having a great day, no matter what the roads or the weather may have to say about it. So let's see what today has in store. Come on, let's go.
Don't let me give you the wrong impression here. The idea of turning back and driving the Pacific Coast Highway all the way back may have been miserable for time, but not for the drive itself. Pacific Coast Highway is one of the most astoundingly scenic roads in the world, meant to be traversed slowly while gasping at the mountains, towering trees, expansive beaches, and endless skies. And with the sun setting off into the ocean on one side, this really was one of the most beautiful drives we've ever done. Stretching along the coast from north to south over 656 miles, this is the longest state route in California and the second longest in the U.S. after Montana Highway 200. Including the leg that reaches the top corner of Washington, this route stretches for 1,600 total miles, giving drivers plenty of opportunity to enjoy the ocean views along the coastal route. Of course, with the rain coming down today, the drive along the coast was nowhere near as beautiful as was last night. Rather than calm seas bathed in the warm orange glow of the sunset, rough waves beat away at the cliffs and the rocks underfoot. Making our journey back up the coast from page 100, we came into Carmel-by-the-Sea, more commonly known as Carmel, a city in Monterey County with a population of about 3,700 people. This is a very popular tourist destination, known for its natural scenery and rich artistic history. Our first must-do stop in town was Lover's Point, which, according to local legend, was once known as Lovers of Jesus Point, dating back to the era when Pacific Grove was a Methodist retreat camp. Over the years, this has become a popular spot for boating, swimming, and, in more recent history, surfing. It is also touted as Pacific Grove's best-loved spot for picnics, air painting, and scenic photography. With its unique east-facing location, it is one of the only spots on the West Coast where you can expect to be able to watch the sun rise over the water. Many visitors to the park choose to climb out at the rocks at the point to get a better view of Monterey Bay. Aichan and I also chose to climb out on the rocks, but not to get a better view of the bay, nor was it to check out all the local birds, although we did have a great time seeing them. Nestled in amongst the rocks at the end of Lover's Point is a geocache hidden out facing the view. Together, Aichan and I searched it out as well as any other critters that might be hiding in the area. One thing that can certainly be said about a rough weather day like this is it makes the seas much more interesting to watch. Particularly in a rocky patch just like this, where you can watch the contrast of the waves push its way in amongst the rocks. It would be easy to come out here with one's romantic partner, sit down, and enjoy watching the waves beat against the rocks, losing hours without even realizing it. Fortunately, we did not need to spend hours here, as we were able to track down the geocache in just a few minutes' time and make our way further into Pacific Grove. This neighboring city to Carmel-by-the-Sea would be the starting place for us to see many local unique oddities. One of those oddities would be the world's largest artichoke, built in 1963 from concrete and rebar. Standing at 20 feet tall and 12 feet across, this artichoke gives a little bit of life to the fruit stand located directly underneath of it, encouraged Aichan and I to pick up lunch here, including some of the delicious fried artichoke leaves on the specialty menu. Although the detour around Pacific Coast Highway caused us to cut a lot of targets today, we still managed to make finds in all of the counties and pages we had ahead of us. As was the case yesterday, we dealt with a great variety of finds, well beyond the standard fare that you're used to seeing. Who needs a magnetic key holder on a generator when you can have a piece of wood cleverly camouflaged right next to it? And while fishing expeditions can sometimes be time-consuming, it's always more enjoyable to cast a line when you know you've got a pretty good chance of reeling in a geocache at the end of it. Even Aichan did her part to help speed this day along, sniffing out the geocaches when she could and helping me to add my name to the log in short order. Together, we worked through one find after the next. No matter how clever the camouflage job, we were able to wheedle it out. Especially when the containers were just sitting out in the open, taunting us to make the find. Yep, certainly no complaints about how productive our geocaching day was today. On approach to the end of our day, we stopped into the city of San Juan Batista in San Benito County, with a population of right about 2,000 people. Founded in 1797 by the Spanish with the establishment of Mission San Juan Batista, this town is a popular tourist destination with many important historic sites, including the home of San Juan Batista State Historic Park and cultural institutions like El Teatro Campesino. The park plaza includes several structures that were built in the 1800s, including the Plaza Hotel, the Plaza Hall, the Plaza Stables, and the Castro Breen Adobe. For our final stop of the day, we drop into the San Luis Reservoir, an artificial lake on San Luis Creek in the eastern slopes of the Diablo Range of Merced County. With a visitor center open free to the public 7 days a week, this is a perfect opportunity to learn about the 5th largest reservoir in the state of California. The reservoir stores water taken from the San Joaquin-Sacramento River Delta. Water is pumped uphill into the reservoir from the O'Neill Forebay, which is fed by the California Aqueduct and eventually released back into the forebay to continue downstream along the aqueduct as needed for farm irrigation and other uses. Depending on the water levels, the reservoir can be as long as about 9 miles long from north to south at its longest point and 5 miles wide. At the eastern end of the reservoir, you can find the San Luis Dam, the 4th largest embankment dam in the United States of America.
And it looks like that is going to just about do it for our day. And if it doesn't seem like we really did all that much today, it's because we didn't. Page 100 really sucked all of our time. Last night, we were running right on time right until we hit the road closure. As soon as I knew we had to go around those mountains, I knew we were going to have to be making serious adjustments. There were many things that got cut today, including all of the earth caches, a lot of the virtuals, Salinas, and the webcam that we were going to do in Santa Cruz. It would have been nice, but it was also very time consuming because there are 4 webcams to have to move through there, and I knew that that probably put a couple hours back in our pocket not having to do that one as well. Believe it or not, despite starting the day about 6 hours behind schedule, Aichan and I are pretty much right back on time. We're only 2 pages shy of finishing out our night from here in the San Luis Reservoir. I don't think we're going to have any problem getting the last targets we need to wrap things up and still get to the airport in San Francisco in time to pick up our friend. I'm looking forward to starting the day fresh with him tomorrow and getting on the road and introducing him to all of you. Thank you guys for joining us on the road today as we made our way back around the Pacific Coast Highway from the other direction and finally found that geocache in page 100 that stymied us last night. Like this video, subscribe to stay tuned for daily updates, and we'll see you out on the trails.